Welcome to another in the series, The Sip and the Chat. Welcome to another in the series, Sip and the Chat. I'm your host, LELEITH Tomlinson. I want to say Happy New Year to everyone. If you're listening to us in Spanish, Bueno Año. It's such a pleasure to, be here with you another year to share in the goodness of the Lord. And we know that He is good to us because here we are amidst all the challenges that we have been exposed to, we have been able to overcome. So we want to give the Lord praise and thanks for His loving kindness and His tender mercies towards us. Today I have with me in studio my friend, and I'm so happy because we are now on the 5th year of Sip and the Chat, and my friend and another colleague of mine, they were my first two guests. We made a faith walk. We came to the studio having no clue of what we were going to do. So I thought it's so important to say thank you by having her as my first guest for the year 2024. And I brought a small token from my heart. I want to welcome my guest, Crystal Haye. Thank you for being my friend and my first host. So I guess my second guest know who she is, right?
Thanks for having me, Dr. LELEITH Tomlinson. It is my pleasure to be here to share this great occasion with you on your first show for 2025.
Yes, it is a pleasure. So I'll just take this from you as our producer put it aside for us. So welcome everyone to another evening of Sip and Chat. We are delighted to be here with you. As I said, today we want to look at some things as the new year unfolds. Many people talk about crossover. And the very word itself, I keep thinking Dr. Crystal. The very word itself, you are an HR consultant and you are also a minister. So you're very familiar with the nuances of people transitioning from one year to the next year. And so as we look on this theme of crossing over and going into a new period, let us look at some of the things what does crossover mean to the average person out there?
So crossover in its own self means to move from one place to another, closing a chapter and going over into a new year, like what we're in now in 2025. For me, crossing over means that you let go of the things of the last year and look forward to the things that you want to achieve for this brand new year, 2025.
Excellent. So today what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be looking at what we refer to as the 3 R's of crossover. So, we want to get deep into that. If you have your coffee as usual or your tea, please feel free to join us as we get into this very important discussion. So as we transition from one year to the next year, right? We want to talk about releasing. I think it's Apostle Paul that says, this one thing I do, forgetting those things that are behind and pressing towards the mark of the high calling, which is in Christ Jesus. So we recognize that moving is important. And I want to start off with this quote that I found very interesting. It says, in 3 words, we need to understand this, why it's important to move on, that life is continuous. So as long as we are breathing and so on, we know that life is continuous. Life continues. So we need to know that we cannot get stuck in 1 year. So talk to us a little bit about the importance of, first of all, reflecting, and before we get to releasing, reflecting and how as we position to move on.
All right, so reflection of the past year and how we are moving on. Think about our accomplishments. What have you achieved? What are you trying to achieve? The challenges, I know that many of us, we encountered many challenges. And so in reflecting, we want to reflect on the lessons that we have learned in 2024 and how we can do better for 2025.
So thank you very much for that reflection. So a lot of times when we reflect, people will say to us, okay, Don't dwell on the negative, but the negative can be seen as we look at the negative to glean the lessons and use those lessons as guides as to not cause them to reoccur, so to speak. So for example, when we reflect, we might say, wow, I wasn't able to do as well in this, and probably the issue was procrastination. It could be an exam, it could be a goal that you had and you recognize that you started too late. So looking at yesterday is good, but dwelling on yesterday is what is bad. Because somebody said life is like a bridge. You cross over from one year to the next year, but the only thing is that you don't build a house on the bridge.
All right.
You know, so it's life is a bridge, but you don't build a house on the bridge. You cross over on the bridge. All right, reflection. So what did I accomplish? Can I ask you, my guest, what are one of the major accomplishments of 2025?
So for me in 2025, what I've accomplished,
yes,
I'm happy to be here. That is my greatest accomplishment life. For me, I really want to, as you say, not forget about 2024. There are many plans that I'm still in the process of, completing that I made in 2024. Like, I really want to write a book. I want to venture in my own HR business. Even this morning, my friend and I, we were talking about, just the plans that we made in 2024 that we need to use this time as a reflective time to really, look at what we have planned from last year and the year before, and try to spend some time and to work on it, also prioritize and make an intentional move in ensuring that what we have planned, that we're going to achieve them. And so I really want to do a book, and I want to just do my own little HR thing. So I'm working on those, and thanks to my friend Sayona, who has really, as always, every year we normally go and plan for the upcoming year. She's now in another country with her family, and so we still do it virtually. And so one of my major accomplishments is just to be strong in the Lord, and also not only spiritual, but physically, mentally, emotionally, and just achieve my goals for this year, 2025.
And I think as a young lady too, one of the goals that you have for 2025 is that something that happened in 2024 was about your house.
Yes, so
and I see you laughing so hard.
Yes, so my house was one of my major accomplishments, and we're able to work on work projects that were able to stretch me, to get in a lot of engagement activities. And so, and one of my, greatest accomplishment is to, to see that I've grown with the Lord and in the Lord.
Great. All right. So we're reflecting, and I want everybody who is listening to me tonight, to just start reflecting on some of the things that you had said for 2024 and where they are and how you're going to, if they're important enough to you, to make them better. I can talk about myself as well. In 2024, I had an exam, a certification exam. I did the exam first. I got to be a student of to just pass the module as a student. The pass mark is 70, right? But to be a teacher of the module, a compliance course, you have to get 80. Well, I did it once and I got 75, right? I did it again and I got 75. I was like, oh my God, but that wasn't my goal. My goal was to be a certified LMSC trainer. And so on the third round, man, I had all kinds of challenges, but I am happy to say that I pressed through it and I was able to accomplish it. So as you reflect, and you can do this with other people as well, you can do it over coffee, you can do it over sip and chat. You do it. It is important because a lot of people go through life, thinking that they're worthless, not counting the small little accomplishments, right? If you are living with your mom or you're able to move out, even if you're paying rent, that's major, yes. Right? If you were able to take regular taxi, but now you can call a Uber, that's major too, because it's a different space that you're in. If you had limited resources, but now you can find a proper meal. Come on, people. Sometimes I think we spend so much time looking at the big things that when we reflect, we don't give God thanks for the small things. And that is where I want us to start by just this 2025 before we begin to compare ourselves with anybody and feeling down and depressed. That boy, from last year, I try to get the mortgage and I can't get the mortgage. Still give the Lord thanks that at least you are in a position to apply to get the mortgage because you had your own experiences, as I said before. So we want to reflect, all right? In the society, we saw a lot of negative as well, 2024. But even though the crime rate isn't down, the stats that I heard last was that it was 18% down from the previous year. Yeah. And so we have to be grateful as well. So it's not that we are in heaven in terms of the crime thing, but it has gone down. So we want to do that. And so I'm saying, just let us look outside and, be grateful. We had a lot of losses, family members, people close to us, my own friend, Pastor Allen, so many close people, Sheridan Ebert, so many people who lost their lives that were close to us in this year. My own friend, Sandra Antonio as well. So many people that died. Rupert Campbell, a lot of people that really transitioned in the year. So we really want to be grateful.
An attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, we want to have an attitude of gratitude. So right here where you are, watching us here on Sip and Chat, wherever in the diaspora you are, we want you to be grateful. So reflect. It is important to reflect. But don't dwell on everything that went wrong, right? Focus on what are some of the things that went right. Now, the second R after we reflect, because Sip and Chat move fast, right? The second thing after we reflect is that we need to release. Talk to us about releasing.
Releasing. So, as Dr. LELEITH Tomlinson just said, don't forget about the negative. It actually is something that helps you to learn lesson. And so as you release, every day you wake up, when negative presents itself, you have to speak the word of God because there is power in your word. So every time a negative thought comes to mind, you have to speak the positive. If you don't see your children mounting up to what they're to do or what they're to become, you have to speak greatness. And so it is with our lives as well. In our physical life, when you don't get the job that you want, speak that is coming to pass and just receive and release what the 2024 has for you and move into 2025.
All right, so I feel excited about the discussion, the whole matter of releasing. Now, some people can be very retentive, them hold on to things, hold on tight. So they're in malice with June, they're in malice with August, them still vexed with January of 2024, them bitter against December, them bitter bad against December because they never get a bonus, and so many things. So, but even to a more practical basis, people keep malice and strife and, just envy and bitterness. And what I've come to recognize is that when you are retentive, even biologically in terms of our processes, when we hold on to malice, when we hold on to strife, when we hold on to bitterness, it does have an impact
on us,
on our whole biological and functioning system. First of all, we know that cognitively it affects us because we can't move forward. Because we are so upset with the man that left us. The man who, remember the story about poor Lizzie Jane, should have married long ago, but her husband, and promised her she's standing up there waiting on the ring and never get no ring. And so many things. And some persons who have had bad breakups and so on. But let me say this to you. I've always been a believer that where there is a will, there is a way. And I was thinking this morning, Crystal, that the Lord reigns. He R-E-I-G-N-S is positioned in the seat of authority, and he makes intercession for us. He reigns. And because he reigns, he also reigns down on us. Wow. So he sits in the seat of position as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And then he pours down his blessings. He rains down, he shower down his blessing upon us. So this is the year to release. Let go of that which is holding you back. Some people are so chained and yoked to yesterday that they can't even try. And the thing about it too, I'm getting excited already about this discussion. The thing about it is that there's something that is known as pivot, right? And I always remember sometimes some persons would say it's time to make a 360. But guess what? 360 brings you right back to your starting point. So this is not the year to make the 360. This is the year to make the 180, because sometimes life is about phases, seasons.
Yeah.
So some of us have gone through our rough season already. Lord, our birth, our pushing out, our conception season, so to speak. And this year, 2025, we need to give birth. So for us to give birth, you know what? I don't know if you are 7 months pregnant and 9 months pregnant, if you can still get pregnant again. I must look it up. But some people need to push out that which held them back in 2025 and conceive, cause there to be a conception of new dreams, new visions, and new possibilities. So we need to release. Retention, oh my God, that can hold you back so badly. Talk to us now about the other hard that we want to do is just to refire. How do you find fuel to refire?
So refiring means give it back what was lost, rebirth. What was dead is now becoming alive. And so at every point in our life, challenges, situations have a way to cause us to be beaten down, causes us to be low on energy, right? I mean, I work in the fuel or petroleum industry. And so just like the car, when the car, you drive it from point A to point B, you have to refuel it. You have to gas up. You have to go to the station and get gas. That's how life is. When we pour out, when we are faced with challenges, battered, worn, we have to refuel. What area do you think that you need to be refueled in? Maybe it's your prayer life. Maybe it's getting out of that low place. Stop being procrastinating. Get out of that place. Stop making excuses that, I don't have the resources. Miles Monroe is one of those persons that says in a clip I listened to, he says he knows that God reigns over everything. And so when he's praying, whatever situation that comes at him, he replies to God and say, God, you reign over this situation. In other words, he's giving it to God. You need to give your situation to God. And what? You too, you are a part of the process. So you have to do something to make it work. You can't sit down and cry. No, get up, recalibrate, refresh, reset, start again, give birth again, do something again. Get up, man, and do something.
That's so important. A little song that says, get up off your feet, and just dance, and there's a day ahead of you. There is something ahead of you. And I think it's so important that we understand that we can't allow for yesterday to consume too much of today. Yeah. Because there's so much mental capacity that we have. So we can't allow too much of yesterday's baggages and yesterday's sorrow and so on. And one of the things that I say, I will talk about the whole matter of refiring. I always say this and people laugh. It's time to change our clothes. We have been wearing some garments of heaviness. We need to put on beautiful, allow God to dress us and put on beautiful ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garments of praise for the spirit of heaviness. And somebody might say, you know what, it's easier said than done. And yes, it takes a lot of guts, but guess what? If you stay in your little place there and have your little pretty party and don't try to move out, then 2025 will end with you still saying, nobody loves me, nothing is happening for me. But if you get up, you have to have the guts this season. It doesn't matter what prophetic word, it doesn't matter what is uttered over your life. It's time to get up. Yeah. Get up. So here on Sip and Chat, on our first program, that's what we're talking about. It's as you cross over, you have to be intentional that you have to make a move.
Have to make a move. And not only that, relationships are good. People that we partner with, people that we get instructions from
You're
people.
saying it too nicely. I think we need to get rid of toxic people.
Toxic relationships.
And it's in the Bible too, toxic people, right? Toxic people can only intoxicate you.
That's right.
Because that's what they give off. Negative, poisonous gas, right? And I say it in the Bible because remember, some people cannot go with you to the place that you need to go.
That's right.
Ruth, Naomi, and Oprah. We need to say goodbye. We need to allow.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we need to say goodbye to Oprah. Come with your Ruth, but leave your Oprah. Don't even go back and look for them. Because I saw this thing that says, and my producer is bringing it up right now, that you cannot fly if you're carrying weight.
Wow.
If the weight behind you is too heavy, you cannot soar. And 2025 is the year for more. But you cannot soar and you cannot receive more if you are retentive. You can't release, can't lift up your hands to soar. So we want to say to everyone who is watching us this season, it's time to soar. It's time to release. It's time to retread. It's time to refire. You know, I'm thinking, Crystal, about in Jamaica, we have, and one of the reasons why we say, it's not that we're throwing out everything in 2024, right? In Jamaica, we have these little fires, right? And what I noticed is that, you know, when we were humble in a nice, humble environment, we used to have our coal fires, right?
Yes.
And sometimes that coal fire went down. Mm-hmm. But once there was this little thing, a little chip or a little piece of coal with a fire, you were able to add more fire to that. And then that would blow up into a big flame and a bigger fire. What are we saying today? We're saying to you here on Sip on Chat that as long as you can find a little fire, oh God, as long as you still have a little hope, as long as you still have a little faith. What does the Bible say about a little faith?
It says, faith as small as a mustard seed, it can move any mountain.
I think I should say that again.
Your faith as small as a mustard seed can remove any mountain. What is your mountain? Your faith can move that mountain. Just believe, little faith can move a big mountain.
And you know what? I'm seeing the producer put up a little mustard seed right now with her. And I have seen a little mustard seed. It is so tiny. And then you have this big mountain in front of you. But what the word of the Lord is saying to us tonight is that, listen, it's not even so much about the mustard seed, It's about the confidence you have in the God of the mustard seed. Yes. So he's saying once you come into alignment and tap into the supernatural power of God, the one who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ever ask or imagine of him, we will see the glory of the Lord in the land of the living. I want to say to you, and I know you have experienced so much miracles in your life. I think one of the reasons why sometimes people are not believing that they can refuel, they're at the wrong gas station. They are at the wrong gas station. They're at the wrong gas station. They are at the gas station that is pumping in doubt, pumping in negativity. Some crab spirit friends who say, "Not bother with that, man. Your mother never do it, and your father never do it, and you come from a poor family." So they have those crab friends. So that's the gas station that they're at. But when you pull out of that gas station for your little bit you have and find some energy people, some dream enablers, right? People that says, "Yes, man, I will prop you up until you can fly." When you find those kinds of friends, you recognize that, listen, there is basically nothing that is impossible. And we're not talking about egotism. We're not talking about being out of order. We're not talking about being unrealistic either. We're talking about when you find people who help to fuel your dreams. I want to give God thanks to all of my dream enablers. Yeah, because so when the dream enablers to sometimes let's just say, big one, we're gonna work with you. Probably won't come through this week, but we're gonna work with you for next week. So it's not like everything you say to some of your, some of those people who mentor you and so on, they say go, but they help to nurture you and give it, paddle you through those kinds of crossroads in your life. So I want to just encourage everybody out there that don't give up on your dreams. I always remember the book, A Raisin in the Sun, Langston user, and it says, what happens to a dream that is deferred Does it rot like a raisin in the sun? And that's not always the case. Sometimes dreams can come alive in a way. I touched on something, right? And I know that, usually on Sip and Chat, we get so engrossed in the discussion. But one of the things I want our viewers to understand, that not everything that you want, your own money is going to buy it. Because we're talking about supernatural faith. Talk to us a little bit about how God can show up in the midst of situations that we didn't even think was possible.
So for me, I can say that God is really someone who can show up in ways that you have never imagined. And Luke 1:37 speaks it the best. For with God, all things are possible. With God, I take out man. With God, all things are possible. And so I want to encourage someone today. I was in a position where I lost my job for almost 1 year. I thought that my life ended. I thought I wasn't able to bounce back. But in the midst of all of that bad credit, in the midst of, financial deficits and not able to fulfill certain obligation, just by believing God, recalibrating, refreshing, refiring, letting go of the baggage, know that in me, in you as well, as bounceability skills. And so when you go down, you're able to bounce back. And in all of that, I got another job, and God was able to bless me with a brand new home. Is there anything too hard for God? Is there anything too hard for God? What are you believing God for? Just lift your faith and remember, for with God, all things are possible.
It was Mark 9:23 that says, anything is possible if a person believes. And so one of the ingredients, we're going to explore a lot of them in 2025, especially in the month of January. As you cross over into this new year, right, there are many people who have questions like, Kesera, whatever will be. But no, that's not what we're saying. We're saying with God, all things are possible. And do not underestimate yourself. It is Philippians 4:13 that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I really want to encourage somebody out there that you need to start believing in your dreams, believing in them. And it says, dreams, this quote I saw from Eddie Harris Jr., it says, dreams are what get you started. Dreams. Desires is what keep you going. And determination is what gets you to the finish. Can I say that one more time? It is the dream that gets you started. So maybe the dream was planted rather in 2024 or 2023 too. Because some of us, our plans are so detailed and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It just takes a little time. So it says dreams get started when we in a different season, but it is a desire that keeps us going, and it's definite determination that keeps us going. Listen, the ant, the dog, and the animal, different animals, they have different gestation period, but when they come out, they have their own potential, and they're all very important. Don't judge somebody because they seem to be coming forth and blossoming before you. You're going to blossom in your season. Just remember that dreams are possible, but it's important to be persistent as you seek to go after those dreams. I'm so glad to have you here with me, looking fabulous as usual, right? All the best professionally and spiritually for the new year. And, I don't know, maybe this is the year for the boys.
Yes, I received that blessing.
And we will discuss it all here on Sip and Chat. Until next time, I want to say thank you to all of our viewers. It has been a pleasure serving you right through the year, and we look forward for a great year. And remember, if it's important to you, it's important to us. That's why we're right here with you on Sip and Chat.